As the two quarterbacks reignite their rivalry in the AFC Championship game this weekend, Josh Allen was asked about facing Mahomes earlier today.
Obviously, Patrick is one of the greatest to ever play the game, and they're one of the greatest teams to ever be assembled. Going for a three-peat, and that's what everybody wants to be in this league, is to have the sustained success that they've had. Again, that's what we're aiming to be.
It's just two really good football teams going up against each other. They have great players at every level on both sides of the ball, and they're well coached. And so when you play great football teams like that, it kind of usually ends with kind of that split type of deal there. And so we've been able to beat them in the playoffs, and they've gotten us in the regular season. But if you look at the games, every game's close. So it just comes down to a play here or there that kind of usually it makes an impact on the outcome.
Oh, you just love it. All right, full coverage of this one. Elena Getzenberg in Buffalo, Michelle Steele in Kansas City. Michelle, what did Mahomes have to say about facing the Bills' defense on Sunday?
Laura, just like Patrick Mahomes said, we know that these games always end up being close between the Chiefs and the Bills, the literal number 1 and number 2 teams in the AFC. And while every year is unique, what is undeniable is how many more Chiefs players have been on this stage before, right? No fewer than 43 Kansas City players have played in an AFC Championship game. Compare that to just 14 in Buffalo. Safety Justin Reed told me that experience does help because they understand the, quote, magnitude of the moment is the words he used in the most high pressure, high intensity game of the season. One mistake is not going to turn into 2 or 5. Now, while it might not be the difference maker, as Andy Reid told me, can't hurt. Now with more on the Buffalo Bills, here's Elena Getzenberg.
Thanks, Michelle. Buffalo Bills quarterback Josh Allen said of his first AFC Championship appearance back in 2020, you always remember the feeling of not pulling it through, adding that it sticks with you. The Bills are a very different team than they were when they faced the Chiefs back then, and this team has changed in that Coach Sean McDermott and Allen have developed over the years. Something that's been key for Allen and the team's success is making better decisions. The Bills have won the turnover margin in 21 straight games, tied for the longest such streak in NFL history. They'll need to continue that against the Chiefs at Arrowhead on Sunday. Laura?
All right, thanks to Elena and Michelle. The boys in formation. They're ready to go. NFL Live going cover 3 right here. Dan, what do we need to know?
Well, the AFC Championship game, there's going to be a lot of plays that matter, but I do believe each defense has to stop kind of the staple plays of each offense. Buffalo's offense, if you've watched this show at all this year, we're going to talk about these 4-by-1 formations, meaning you get these 4 people up top. In some formations, sometimes it's a little bit wider. A lot of times for Buffalo, it's bunched down, and then somebody backside, a Keon Coleman and Amari Cooper more often than not. And we've talked about it a lot, fellas, where you could get to a bunch of different things. We can go block, and kick the ball to the flat. They can go run game backside. They can go one-on-one route where they want to. But if they're going to try to get some explosive plays down the field, they will get into some of the play action stuff. The thing I find fascinating about it is I just talked about how there's 4 guys up top, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. And so one side of the formation pre-snap has 4 guys. And then this is kind of the way they go about getting through their play action stuff is all of a sudden they get the back on the fake, they pull the backside guard, they got 4 people up top, and it's a half row by Josh Allen. And then at some point, they also went from 4 people to the right of the formation to many ways 4 people to the bottom of the formation. Just defensively, how do you symmetry-wise balance that out?
And that's the challenge, because when you first started that formation, you had the 4 guys up there. As a defense, you have different checks because the Ravens right here are playing zone defense. So we would call it, we were in this, and you'd start saying bingo, 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 and you would be bingo on the coverage to the left, knowing that the zones that you're getting to on defense, you don't have enough guys on that side.
Right.
So now you're saying we have to shift the coverage that way.
Push all the way front
exactly.
side.
And how you ended this snap is what makes it so difficult, because now you have 4 guys on this side from the middle of the field that now guys have to redirect, and it's a challenge for linebackers.
The whole point of the 4-by-1 is that it's tough for defensive rules to apply. Right? And so it confuses them so quickly. So from a receiver standpoint or pass catchers, wherever you're at in the formation, getting to your area with speed gives the quarterback a clear picture just like this.
And this is easy for you guys. This is three level, right? You got a go or a post. You have a deep crosser. Shakir often the guy or a tight end run that deep crosser. And for Josh, you're sitting there going, I got a big time vertical stretch. Well, also that horizontal stretch. J-Mac, I love your point of playing zone against it. That's one of the things that they often see is that zone because all their motion and shifting, and those are those easy completions. Now go to Kansas City. Yes, they're going to get into their RPO game, but they're going to also live in their 12 personnel. We know 12 personnel is one back and then their two tight ends. Sometimes the tight ends will be on each side of the tackle, but they stack them here, right? And so it's a little bit of a different visual, and this is how they try to create some kind of explosive indoor chunk play. They get downhill in their play action, right? And then both their tight ends are kind of bluffing, like here's a block, you get a sail, and then here's a block and a flat. I've talked about this. We've talked about this. The sail concept for this football team is such a big deal. They'll get their vertical guy, Worthy or Hollywood Brown, and then this is what I find fascinating. Patrick's throwing his ball right now. Kelsey's not even remotely close.
Yeah, it hasn't broken.
Right? But there's another reason why playing them, again, in zone defense, just like Buffalo, is so difficult and challenging. That sail concept is huge.
And why it's special is because in these, you know that they're getting to certain areas, but the way they even have the formation where they line up Travis Kelce in the backfield, and it helps with the timing for the clear out route for Worthy, who's going to get there fast. And why Kelce is so great versus zone, he's a former quarterback. So he sees it the exact same way as Pat Mahomes does. So in this would never be the angle I would take in the sail route, but he knows, hey, I'm going to get here faster, and if this guy comes with me, you have DeAndre Hopkins who's going to fill that void, him filling it, knowing exactly where the outlet for Mahomes comes quicker at.
And if I'm a defense, when you go back to this where Kelsey's first releasing, and we would do it when I was in New England, we call it a hammer technique. Okay. So for guys on defense, if you're aligned over Kelsey, so right here, he's going through the line of scrimmage. If I'm that defensive line, I'm not allowing him a free release. I'm giving him a nice chuck. That's in man-to-man. That's in zone. Whatever we're doing.
The play.
No matter where Kelsey is. If I was a DB, I'd line up. And if that's Danico Autry, I'd be like, hey, Danico, 87's in front of you. Make sure you get a hit on him. So now you're slowing down the timing of this route. So now to that point, Mahomes hits a half roll. He hits his back foot. He's ready to throw. But now Kelsey is outside the numbers on this throw because he's got jammed from the defensive lineman, and it messes up the timing.
Throws all that timing off.
I mean, look at this. Take it back real quick. Watch Travis Kelce. The moment he diagnoses zone, he beelines right to the area where it's open. Where typically you would stick it to separate. Watch. You see how he just automatically sees, okay, it's zone.
Just
I'm
get to
running
that green grass.
beeline to here.
Get to the green grass. Get to the space. So I just think these are really important plays for each defense to try to handle. Yes, you're going to give up yards. Buffalo is going to get to their 4x1 a bunch of different ways. If you're going to play zone Kansas City, they will pick you apart. And Kansas City at 2 or 3 times this game is going to try to get some form of an explosive pass play. That sail concept out of that 12 personnel is the one they're going to go to.
I thought J-Mac was about to put the hammer technique on Hawk there for a second. It felt like
put those jumper cables
on him. All right, let's stay on this one for an ESPN Bet Sportsbook same game parlay. And for this, Hawk, you have the honors today. So walk us through your picks.
Okay, so I'm going with Patrick Mahomes to go for more than 224 pass yards. I'm going with Travis Kelce to go for more than 6.5 receptions. And I'm going for Josh Allen underneath 49.5 rush yards because I think this game is going to be a track meet. In all 6 AFC Championship games, Patrick Mahomes has never thrown for 224.5 passing yards or less than 230. I think Travis Kelce is going to be a huge piece, and Josh Allen, he's going to have to contend, so he's going to be throwing the ball a lot more than enough to get him to this many rush yards.
Your logic makes a lot of sense. Allen 3-0 in the regular season at Arrowhead. As you heard Patrick Mahomes kind of throw that into his media availability today, he's 0-2 though in the playoffs.
Các bạn đã quay trở lại với kênh YouTube của mình. Video ngày hôm nay mình lại làm những cái video tô mổ để gửi tặng tất cả các bạn đây. Đây là những đồ vật, con vật của mình chuẩn bị tô mổ để gửi tặng tất cả các bạn. Đấy. Những sản phẩm của mình rất chi là nhiều, đây. Và không thể thiếu được hộp xăm màu của mình này các bạn ơi. Hộp xăm màu giúp mình tạo ra những sản phẩm tuyệt đẹp. Và bây giờ các bạn cùng theo dõi mình tô mổ nha.
Chi tiết tô mổ